saw the history of my computer. Search history. I know you were on my computer last. Don't search that again, okay?
Okay.
It's okay. You don't have to cry. It's okay. It's okay. Just don't search that again, okay? Just don't search that again. You understand? Okay. All right, let's get into this. I'll do the intro and we'll talk about this later. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chillcast. It's been a while. We've been on I'd like to say brief hiatus, but that's not true. It's been a long hiatus. Things have just been really busy around here at Chillcast HQ. I just completed my first year of college. Some of my friends graduated. Some of my friends are still in high school. And one of my friends is dealing drugs, but we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, yeah, so things have been crazy over here at Chillcast HQ. A lot of life changes, a lot of moving in and out of dorms and whatnot. A lot of end of the year stuff, family stuff, vacation, stuff like that. So it's been kind of hard to get together and record with everybody. So right now it's just me and my attorney, Brian Jordan.
Yep, I'm his attorney. It's great to be on the podcast.
Hold the mic closer, please.
Okay. Yeah, I was really stoked when he asked me to be on here. So do you have a plan or?
Well, I was thinking we could have you list off your least favorite, most cringy memories, and we analyze them critically and judge you and shame you on the podcast. Does that sound good?
Yep. Okay,
No.
one. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I had a crush on this girl. No.
Oh.
Anyway, no. I wanted to talk about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial that for a long time became like a comedy, like a sitcom that everyone kind of got to tune in. Like everyone around the world was kind of just tuning into this spectacle sitcom of a trial that had some of the best performances by these well, I guess you could call them Amber Heard. I guess you could call them Amber Heard's lawyers in quotes. I don't know where they got their training or education.
I mean, obviously they were. They didn't know what they were doing. Even though they're probably good lawyers, they probably just like, we don't know what to do.
Well, the entire time they're just really reaching for anything to make Johnny Depp, any form of evidence to make Johnny Depp look like a jerk, like an asshole, like anything. But they couldn't find anything. They found like very minuscule stuff that was irrelevant, but the judge would kind of just let it slide because it's almost like she's like, let's just see if they can do anything with this. Let's just let it happen.
Yeah.
And it was so annoying. They were Amber Heard's lawyers were so disrespectful to all of the witnesses that were called to the stand that weren't theirs, that weren't planted by them.
Yeah.
To be fair, they both sides can have call witnesses, and
Mm-hmm.
they know what they're probably going to say. So to be fair, both sides can do that in a trial, but at the same time, you're supposed to be respectful because if you want them to cooperate, you don't insult them because then they clam up, and it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And it's just common decency to be nice to someone even in the trial.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of that, but I think with the lawyers, the only thing they could do is like you said, like how they found any tiny thing, like, oh, you Johnny Depp, is it true that you has said the F word before? And they're just like,
they bring up his like drug history and the fact that he drinks alcohol.
Because you drink alcohol,
you definitely beat your wife.
You definitely
using the transitive property.
Wine,
a mega pint of wine
equals one bad dude
equals one punch. Sorry about the spike on the microphone. I think the plosives are not good for this. The plosive. Oh gosh, that's horrible. I'll have to fix that. Anyway, no, it's just so silly. Like they actually did use that term mega pint to describe Johnny Depp drinking wine. He's like, Mr. Depp, correct me if I'm wrong. When you got home that day, before you talked to Amber Heard, you poured yourself a mega pint of wine, correct? And he was like, a mega pint? And he's like, I'm sure I poured myself a cup of wine. Yes.
Yes, this thing on a cup.
Yeah. No, it was so irrationally frustrating to listen to them work and listen to them to, have discourse in that trial, because like one of my least favorite, but also one of my favorite parts is when, this, this artist guy who's a friend of Johnny Depp,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp's, he was like a very small, very talented. He's still very talented, very, very talented artist, but small at one point. And he was a friend of Johnny Depp's, and Johnny Depp supported him, grew his career, set up an auction where he could sell his art for like a lot of money so he could grow his career, and gave him an apartment.
Ooh.
And set him up real well so he could just paint for a living. That alone is pretty a good,
a good start,
a good perspective on Depp's behavior,
yeah,
and how he treats people. Anyway, that guy, they were interviewing him, Heard's lawyers, and they're like, so when you greet, they were like trying to take apart this guy's character, right? They wanted to make him look like a bad person, to like devalue anything he ever said that supported, that was in support of Depp. They're like, so when you greet women, do you give them a peck on the cheek? And he's like, yeah, it's more like not like actual kiss or anything. I just kind of like, I tap cheeks with them or something like that, or maybe I do tap my lips on their cheek, but it's like a very light peck, right?
Oh, like you do to our intern.
Wait, how do you know about that?
I'm.
Have you been watching us?
Yeah, I'm at the front desk too.
Our relationship is a secret.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how much editing I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to cut this out too.
Well, yeah.
Okay, after this, we're gonna have some words.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, the guy was like, yeah. I when I greet girls, I give them a little peck on the cheek, just one. And the lawyer was like, okay, so when you first met Amber Heard, you probably gave her a peck on the cheek, right? He's like, yeah, probably.
Okay.
And she goes, okay, so you would describe it as a light peck, right? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, and then I don't know if this, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this right. It's so hilariously stupid what she does. She goes, so you describe it as an aggressive, hard kiss, right? And he's like, no.
Well, yes, because light peck equals hard.
Using the transitive property.
A light slap equals explosion.
No, but like, she literally asked him two different questions. She was like, so you consider it like a light peck, right? Yeah. So you consider it like an aggressive, hard, abrasive, abusive kiss, right? No. and then she like literally filtered through all of her files, like, oh my
you cheated on a test in high school.
Here's how cartoony this trial was. One of the lawyers, his actual last name is Rottenborn, and that's an unfortunate name.
Sounds like a name of a video game.
Yeah,
Rottenborn.
The Rottenborn Files.
The prequel to Bloodborne.
He does sound like an anime villain, Rottenborn. Like Dr. Robotnik. But anyway, yeah, it became that trial. I'm so glad it's over, because I'm just kind of done with it. Like, I'm glad it's over. I wanted to pull up the results. I hate to rephrase it as results, but I guess the verdict.
Well,
I mean,
I'm guessing Johnny Depp won.
He did.
Does it say how he won, or what just happens because he won?
Okay, let's see. Okay, now all these advertisements. Okay, so it looks like. Okay, the jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. The jury awarded her $2 million in compensatory damages and no money for punitive damages. So, and I heard, I was watching a video about this recently. Basically, all the counts that Depp's team were trying to, charge or prosecute, whatever. I don't know the terminology. They won. Basically, he won all of what he wanted to win. I'm not good with words for some reason right now. My mind is blanking. But he basically, the verdict was he was right. She was wrong. But they on one count, she was right. She was not guilty. I don't know. So basically, it was Depp won. To sum it up, Depp won.
I guess it's better than this happened in court, because if it was like a social thing that like one person was coming back with evidence and the other like in the media.
Oh, you mean like just like
a feud, a war,
like a cyber.
Well, maybe not a cyber, but just like a media, like they say one thing and the other person says the other.
That would diminish both of their like reputation if they just took it to Twitter. Like they're like, here's my evidence. Like, not everyone would be like, oh my gosh, shut up.
Okay. But yeah,
I'm glad that. But the thing is, the trial was really public.
It was really public. Seeing how there's like live streams, I'm like, oh, well, but yeah, I'm guessing that getting his finger cut off is more evidence than anything.
My favorite piece of evidence or account that was entered into the record is the fact that Amber Heard took a little poopy in their bed.
Oh,
as a prank.
A prank.
That
she has to go to jail now because she did that.
Poop jail. No, that was just like the fact that event occurred. That is just like, I hate to say it, but that's like, if you consider that like a practical joke, that's like actual psychosis. If she wanted that to be anything other than a weird, like, I venture to say abusive, but like it's not verbal, it's not physical, but it's just like, that's just a violation. That's not like, it's not really verbal abuse or physical abuse, but he has
violation of my bed.
Depp has been physically and emotionally and verbally abused by her, as seen by this trial.
Mm-hmm.
But that act in itself, pooping in the bed, that's just like, it's just wrong. It's just wrong on so many levels. It's just, that's a violation of a very safe space that you sleep in. That's just like I posed that hypothetical to you recently, that if one of your friends pooped in your bed and told you, would you forgive them?
I would, but I'd make them clean it up.
See, obviously Depp, I guess, kind of forgave her, because I don't know if that happened while they were still married. But still, that's just like, that's a betrayal.
I'm guessing that's the least he can do, since, she physically abused and mentally abused him. I'm guessing forgiving her for pooping on the bed,
pooping on the bed.
It wouldn't be a stretch.
Yeah. No, but seriously,
it would be a stretch, because...
Seriously, though, that trial became like a weird community spectacle that everyone got to join in on.
Objection? Hearsay?
Objection. Oh, we got to mention that at least once, that Amber Heard's lawyers would object to their own questions, and they would not let the witnesses say anything, because they knew that it would become blatantly obvious they had no case, so they would just shut them up, try to cut them off and really annoy them to the point of anger and object about it. And it was so frustrating. And then you get the stark, contrast with Johnny Depp's lawyers, who were like, hey, how you doing? Even to the people that, they didn't necessarily call to the stand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? Like, that's the wrong approach. Taking your witnesses off, or the witnesses off, instead of actually making a case. That's not going to that's not better than having a case.
I'm pretty sure like every lawyer knows that that like if they don't have a case, they like try their best to make one, but when they do have a case, they're probably like the best lawyer ever. Like,
maybe. Probably not Rottenborn, though.
Rottenborn.
I'm not hiring him.
But
anyway,
lawyer.
I think obviously people there are, the internet's kind of somewhat divided on this. And yes, Johnny Depp has a drug history. Who doesn't in Hollywood? Like, I think some of the most charitable, nice people have at least done some form of drugs in their career, you know, and not to say that I advocate for drug use or heavy drug use or anything, but it's like it almost is irrelevant to, you know, because obviously, you know, they really only brought that up in the trial to distract from the fact of what Amber was doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get off the trial. Basically, to sum it up, Depp won, woohoo. But anyway, so someone on. Are you done? Can you?
Sorry.
Um, but someone on our Instagram suggested we talk about Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
And I gotta say, you know, we could go into detail about every season, all the character arcs, everything, how great the show is. But I just like to expand upon that and say how happy I am that show has become a huge meme, including Better Call Saul and El Camino and everything. Like it's some those shows, best shows in the history of TV. Like they're the best. If there's like a list of best like media of all time, it's Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, El Camino. It's all up there.
Yeah.
That basically sums up my opinion, right? But what I wanted to discuss is the fact that this show has somehow managed to become a meme, and people making these like stupid, ironic, haha, you know, wacky memes about Breaking Bad characters. But then these people who are making these memes still have a respect for the show and love the show and actually like the story, you know, and the actors and the portrayal of the characters, like, but they still are able to meme on it, and it's almost made this show timeless, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen a few episodes of it, but from what I've seen, they build the characters really well. They don't they have like I'm guessing at the time when they filmed this, they don't know they have a lot of seasons to do it, but that didn't matter. Like they tried to make it to where every season they could do it built the character like very well and slowly.
Yeah,
like that's the key, slowly and not too fast.
I think you've seen at least like 3 episodes of the
I've
first
seen,
season.
I think the most recent episode I've seen was when they were when Walter White and Jesse they just put the Jesse poured disposed of the body in the tub, even though Walter White said to use a different type of tub.
A plastic tub.
Plastic tub, and then he fell through the thing.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's why I told you to get plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to. I think we watched the beginning of that episode where they have to clean up all the remains, and then we stopped. Yeah. I've seen the entire show, just for the record, not to brag. No, but yeah, good show. Bryan Cranston is one of the best actors out there.
Which one was that one?
Bryan Cranston, he's Walter White.
Okay.
And Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse.
Okay.
They're equally talented, and they get better as the seasons progress. You know, what was it? What's funny is that, have you ever seen the show? I've shown you BoJack Horseman before, right?
Yeah.
Todd, the guy that sleeps at BoJack's house,
yes,
is voiced by Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse. And he's basically like a less, I guess, criminal form of Jesse. It's got the same Jesse energy though in that character.
Yeah. I'm just glad my chemistry teacher is not wanting to become a drug dealer. So.
Yeah. Well, any of the chemistry teachers out there could do it at any time.
Mm-hmm.
They have the knowledge.
Just pay attention in chemistry. It may help you sell drugs in the future.
Yep, that's why.
But don't
That's why they teach you chemistry at all. It's to ensure the continuation of the drug market.
Yeah, when people ask, like, "Oh, why do we need math? Why do we need science?"
Drugs.
Drugs.
Do drugs, kids. An official declaration from Brian himself.
That's not okay. I didn't say it for the record. Objection. Hearsay.
Objection. Hearsay. Objection. You would say so. Your Honor. This witness would probably beat someone up that they saw them, right? No.
No.
Anyway. But speaking of series, it's a great transition. ObiWan recently came out.
ObiWan.
And my goodness, I haven't been excited for as excited as I am for ObiWan. Let me rephrase this. I don't know how to say this better. I had an idea.
You're really excited.
I'm really excited about ObiWan, basically. I haven't been excited for something like this in a while. Like I haven't been this excited for something in a while, and it's crazy.
It's like
Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorite Star Wars movies. To see them continue the plot with characters that I really, really care about, and parts of the Star Wars world that I really, really care about, and to see that transition from clones to stormtroopers to inquisitors and everything, it's insane. It's so cool. And what's great is excluding Boba Fett and Mandalorian, this show has to be very careful because with Mandalorian and Boba Fett, they don't have too many expectations. The fact that they exist at all, those shows exist at all, is a miracle, and it's awesome. And I'm glad, and everything's great about them. There's some fault. Those shows have some faults. They're not perfect.
I know,
but they don't have many
expectations. Supposed to be green. Boba Fett's not supposed to be green.
Yeah, I was advocating for a blue Boba Fett, but no, like those shows, they don't have many expectations. But with this is like you cannot mess this show up. Because this is, adults, that like watched the original trilogy when it came out, and they really really love the trilogy, and then they watched the prequels and they're like, these are kind of okay, but then they, eventually grew to love them, right?
Yeah.
That's the audience they have to please, and this the same audience also eventually kind of accepted the newer trilogy with Rey and everything, even though it's not that
George
great.
Lucas should have done it.
Yeah, but
why Disney? Why?
Anyway, the point is, it's like, this audience that's I call them the everything Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Or no, the movie fans. They don't if it's it's Clone Wars, they're like, what's that? They don't even, oh, it's animated, must be for kids. I don't care about it. That kind of fan group, like usually it frustrates me that they don't give the time to watch these amazing projects like Clone Wars and Rebels and whatnot, and even Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Sometimes there's just people out there who just kind of exclude everything except for the movies, right? So for once, all of the Star Wars fans out there can kind of unite on this series.
I know,
because these movie fans will care about this because it's ObiWan.
Yeah, it's just so, I don't know, historical. Like you told me before, like seeing how the recap is just this historical movie.
Like
just
a childhood movie.
Like, oh yeah, this happened, and it's just like, this is a main thing that happened.
Yeah, like seeing them recap Revenge of the Sith as if it's like a previous season was such a cool moment. It's like, wow, that's like they really are continuing. Like what I'm going to see in a few minutes when the show starts is what happened, or what happened.
It's just the reason there's so many good shows of Star Wars or good books or good characters is because of the not sounding negative, but the emptiness. But like before, when you just had the original trilogy and then the prequels, and then the new movies, you just had this space between them that you could do anything you wanted.
Yeah,
and they used that. But then some they used it as like a side story. Some they used it as the main story, like Clone Wars. It's the main story about the main characters. Yeah. But since this is the only space that is in not that anything they did to fill the space wasn't important, but this is the important things being filled in the space that
Yeah.
was empty for so long. Like the only thing that you had between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, before this for a little while, was Star Wars Rebels and
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rogue One.
Rogue
What a
Rogue
film.
One was it was like it was like sad, but it was like good. Like it was like you felt something.
It did make you feel things. It recontextualized how big of a sacrifice people made for the Death Star plans and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I like. Even though number one, the sequel trilogy is not like made like solely made. I know the other Star Wars movies weren't like solely made, but basically it was solely made by George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
And George Lucas wrote the scripts, he wrote the entire story for all three movies, and then Disney was like, "Oh yeah, we'll look at them," and they did look at them. They took some elements that the main protagonist is a girl, like that. They took that from that, and they took some things like bringing back Leia or Luke. But then they just threw everything else out.
Yeah.
To make it more Disney, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so,
you ever notice how Force Awakens is just A New Hope?
Well, yeah.
There's some minor changes. It's like I really did enjoy Force Awakens when it first came out.
Yes.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I really did enjoy it.
Force Awakens is good. Return of the Jedi, not Return of the Jedi. I mean, I love Return of the Jedi, but The Last Jedi I liked.
I really liked
strictly
Last Jedi.
Because of Luke.
Oh well, no,
I liked it all, but like one of the main things I liked about it was Luke coming back.
I liked the direction that The Last Jedi was going. I like one of my favorite scenes is the scene where they execute Snoke and they're fighting the Red Knights, the most highly trained warriors in almost all the galaxy. You know, which a lot of people don't know because they make them look like dopes in Revenge of the Sith when Yoda just knocks them over. They're super highly trained warriors. That's why they're guarding the Emperor or whoever's in charge of the Empire. But that was one of the best choreographed scenes. It was so cool to watch. I liked the design of everything. I liked where it was going. And then Rise of Skywalker happened, and it had some shining moments.
Yes.
But it felt like they threw in a bunch of like fan service stuff and crammed it in together.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I love the ending scene with all the Jedi saying "Rise, rise."
Yeah.
That was it's like that was one of the things. Is like if George Lucas did it,
yeah,
he would have done that. And
I never thought I'd ever hear Ahsoka Tano's voice in a main Star Wars film.
Yeah, it was like everyone you knew, and they made sure of it. And so, but it's just the one thing I see. Like, there's so many things I like about it that I literally just forgot what I don't like about it.
It's rushed. Everything's packed together.
Yeah,
it just goes too fast.
Oh, yeah. The sad thing is, I mean, they probably would have done some type of version of it. I don't know if originally George Lucas was thinking about doing like basically the Second Empire, the First Order. Do you have any idea if he was originally planning that?
I have no idea.
Because if he was, then I guess it would have gone the same path, and you would have thought the same thing. But if he didn't, and then Disney just did it so they could just have this force that, not force, but like a force that the good guys needed to fight. It's just so sad that every time, like, execute Order 66 and then the Empire, and then they defeated the Empire. Luke had a Jedi Order.
And he went out and became like a badass and did all these cool things.
Yes, and he did so many cool things
in the books and whatnot.
And that, I mean, it's sad, but like that's what I thought the story should end. And if it didn't, like George Lucas was planning on, it didn't, he would have like put it on something to where like maybe the galaxy's at peace and there's just maybe this evil force that's like not as controlling over the galaxy as the Empire was, but it was just this evil group, and they needed to defeat
Yeah.
it alongside the new Jedi Order. Like,
Yeah, that would have been better, I
that would
think.
have been better. And it's just so
It's just
sad
an
that the First Order came to power and basically undid what Luke, Leia, and Han Solo did at the end of Return of the Jedi, and it was just sad.
Yeah, a lot of what they did is just, it was simply just to start the franchise over so they could make money off toys and, yeah. But here's the thing. Like I said, those movies had some shining moments. I absolutely loved, I still love Finn's character in his story in Force Awakens. It blew my mind that we were going to care about a stormtrooper. He was going to defect, and he was maybe or maybe not force sensitive,
and he could aim.
and he could aim, and he cared about people. And at first he was kind of selfish because he was just trying to leave the Empire, and he was running away. But then he became a rebel. I absolutely love that. And then they just dump him. They dump him in the last two movies. He's just a side character now. His trajectory went because they don't know what they're doing. They didn't know what they were doing. They're like, what's next? Dark Ray. Wait, Finn's a character. I guess we got to put him in the movie. Let's make him go to a casino. Like they really just dump him, and he, I think his name is it Josh or John Boyega, the actor who plays Finn?
Maybe
I know his last name is Boyega. He's aware of this. He was aware that his like trajectory as a character was just dumped, and he was frustrated. And I don't know. There's a lot of rumors about why that happened. I'm not going to go into it, but it was just unfair. It was a dirty move. But let's transition from Star Wars because I feel like we just go on forever because Star Wars is amazing.
I know.
I wanted to talk about some college stories, because this is the return after a year of college. I kind of wanted to reflect with you, my attorney. And I gotta say, I've learned several things. I've learned that college is not how I expected it to be. In elementary school, according to my friend Landon, you could skip class all the time, and there were no penalties. You could go to McDonald's during the day and during class and get burgers and fries.
Whoa!
Yeah. So I didn't skip class, except for like 2 or 3 times. I'm not ashamed to say. I know, right?
Criminal.
No. Well, a couple times in the first semester I skipped class because I was sick, and I tried to get a note, and the person at the health department said, "Well, we can't give you a note. Talk to your professor." And so I was like, "Hey, professor, they won't give me a note, but I was sick." And he was like, "Cool. Anyway, do your homework." No. To be honest, my math professor last semester was awesome. I actually loved his class. He was hilarious. He had a great sense of humor. He made 8 a.m. class, 8 a.m. an 8 a.m. math class bearable, which was impressive. But yeah, so
Nice.
First semester I skipped some classes because I was sick. Second semester, towards the end, I did skip some classes because it wasn't worth the time to go to them. Because of I was doing well in the class. I didn't really need to go in that day because I understood this content or this unit, or
got kidnapped.
I got kidnapped. No, or I just could not bear to go through that class. I'm not gonna say which class, but if my friends are listening, they probably know.
Chemistry class.
No. Thank goodness I'm not in chemistry. I learned this year that I will never take an 8 a.m. class again.
Cool.
I will make sure that I will not have to wake up that early. I'm all good to do 9 a.m. classes. Never 8 a.m. Never again.
6 a.m.
I learned that selling art as a side thing works for me, which is exciting. So I'm gonna hopefully do that next year as well.
It's a front for selling drugs.
It is a front for selling drugs. Don't tell anybody, though. Thank goodness this isn't a public podcast. And I also made some good friends along the way, like Andrew, our new addition to the Chillcast crew.
Yeah.
It was absolutely lovely to meet him, become friends with him, make music with him, record with him. I do have a funny story about Andrew before we go. So I think I might have told you this.
Is it the one where
Well, if you're just going to tell me the story, then I can't really tell the story for the audience, can I? Is it the one where this happens?
The one
I
where
guess it's
you
over.
guys rob a bank?
Well, we can't talk about that for legal reasons, but no. We were heading home. It was me, Andrew, my roommate Marcus, and Dexter. We were heading home from a D&D session.
Mm-hmm.
And
very important.
Very important. And we had to park somewhere else for some reason. We couldn't park near our dorm. And we were driving to this light, and this girl walks across the street, and she's in like Wonderland. She's just not there mentally. She's just looking around like, oh yeah, everything's great. It's not at night, it's a great. I'm so awesome. Everything's awesome. My boyfriend is awesome.
I'm in college,
and she's like prancing across the road, not the crosswalk, the road, and we were like going the speed limit, and we had to like kind of like screech our brakes, and we're like, and she just looks at us and just continues prancing across the road, and then her boyfriend follows behind her, or friend, but I assume boyfriend, at the same slow pace, and we're like, they could have died because people at my college speed at the campus. They speed, even though there are like 30 billion cops everywhere that catch them within a second. They speed. It's scary. They run red lights on that their campus.
It's a very small square or roundabout, or there's a lot of small roundabouts. The square, is it called the
square? Yeah,
the square. Yeah, it's a very small. It's like it's like smaller than you would think it would be, but it's like if you were speeding, then it'd be dangerous.
Yeah, it is dangerous.
Not a lot of road.
No, but anyway, back to the story. They were crossing the road. Very slowly. We almost hit them because they were being careless. And as we were passing by, we were slowly pulling into this parking spot, or this parking area, and Andrew rolls down the window and yells in just the most frustrated voice, "Get off the road!" And we're like, "Andrew!" And then they look at us, and we look at them. We look at Andrew. Andrew's kind of smiling, and we swerve off into the parking area, and we're like, "Andrew!" And he's like, "What?"
His mission is fulfilled.
What?
His mission is fulfilled.
No, he's just spoke his mind. Andrew is known to do that very blatantly. He's not afraid. It was the funniest thing. And Marcus was in the front. He was like, I'm glad you said that, but I don't want to get my car keyed. I don't want them to scratch up my car. You got to think about these
seeing
things.
how they were prancing on the road, I don't think they have the mind capacity to key your car.
Yeah, true. No, but afterwards we were laughing about that. Andrew was like, "I don't see what I did wrong," and we're like driving to we're driving to another place to park because we couldn't park where we wanted to, and then this car appeared behind us. And it was really close. And we took a couple extra turns, and it was still following us. And we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's that guy. He's gonna kill us or something." We were actually kind of on edge, and I don't know why. I think it's just because of the maybe caffeine or something. But we stopped, and they pulled right next to us, and we're like, "Andrew, if I die because of what you said," and we get out, and they get out, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? So it was crazy at the park here," and it was a completely different guy.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness!" But I could not. I was simultaneously so happy, and I was laughing that Andrew had said that to them, but I was also simultaneously extremely scared for my life.
Yeah. But no. It turns out the guy pulls up beside you, and he's like, "Is that the guy? Is that the people?" And then he gets out, and he's like, "Oh, are you the guy that we shouted at?" No. I'm a kidnapper. Like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Brian, for joining me.
You're welcome.
Thank you, audience, for being so patient. With summer starting, it will probably be a lot longer until everyone in the group gets together to record again. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can coordinate better this summer and make some episodes ahead of time and and everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the short that Brian and I put out recently, the sketch. We came up with it just randomly one day, and we made it appear. So hopefully you guys will check it out. It's called The Breath of Leaves. It's on the channel, so go check that out.
In case you're wondering, all the music is not recorded off someone else. It's original music.
All original soundtrack. But we gotta go. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we'll make more new videos soon. And yeah, see you guys next time.
Bye.